how ironic is it that on October 17th, who would have ever in their right mind thought that the Mets would be facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto in Game 4 of the NLCS with a chance to tie this series? That is insane. And while we're all despondent and feeling down on our luck, we are fortunate to be here, and we've said this before, I'll say it again, for the Mets and the fans to be here and be loud and be proud. Game 4 is an opportunity to tie a series, to make the Dodgers feel nervous. Yamamoto has some interesting reverse splits that could influence some of the lineup decisions that we do see Carlos Mendoza and company make on Thursday. Yamamoto's OPS against the lefties is 200 points lower than it is against righties.
Hey, welcome to Meet at the Apple. I'm Vito F. Calisi on Twitter. Sometimes I forget to say my name before my Twitter when I'm tired, especially, John.
Well, you did that with, what was it, David Peterson? You cut it out.
I'm
Power of
Vito Calisi.
editing.
I'm Vito Calisi. On Twitter, I'm at Vito F. Calisi. John at JMB9191. And actually, this is a funny thing to bring up. I'm here with my buddy Gabe. And we're walking around the ballpark.
You're not riding
today.
the Dom Smith. When I met Gabe, he was Dom Smithing around. he's not doing that. I mean, he's scootering. You guys remember, of course, Dom Smith on the scooter.
But we're walking around and somebody goes, Swedish Fish Mafia? And I was like, what? And he was like, are you Swedish Fish Mafia from Instagram? And I said, yeah. And he was like, love your stuff. Love the podcast. You and Mike do a great job.
Who would be Mike?
I guess you.
As if today wasn't bad enough.
Look.
Nah,
today.
Hey, guess what? It's tomorrow.
That's a good way to look at it. Look, Mets fans, we're always going to be honest with you. Today, not a fun day. This was not a fun outcome. It's not the outcome you want, especially when you come to Citi Field and we were looking forward to this for the past week, basically. The second we knew the Mets clinched the spot and then NLCS was coming back here, everybody was giddy. We couldn't wait to get back here. And this isn't the outcome you want. That's just the cold, hard facts.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, you drop a game 8-0, and, you're shut out for the second time in 3 games in the series. And everyone's kind of wondering, will the lineup look a lot different in Game 4? Will Mendy stack the lineup with the lefties? Will there be different names in the lineup card come, 4 or 5 o'clock on Thursday afternoon? And there's reason to believe that won't be the case. Carlos Mendoza already made one proclamation. That is that Francisco Alvarez, who had a tough night in Game 3. He made a bad decision trying to throw out a runner at second base when he should have taken the out in the second inning. You can make the argument led to a run. By the way, that Tyrone Taylor catch, unfortunately, falls by the wayside. Doesn't get the credit or the love it really deserves.
I don't care what the offense would have been tonight. I would have given that top 1 if we were doing a top 3 tonight.
Yeah, that was a great play. But, of course, the run comes in. Could have been the third out, but whatever. You can't harp on that. The Mets have a couple of things they need to tighten up. They got away with it in Game 2. In that 6th inning, they gave the Dodgers outs. And they had built a 6-0 lead, so they were able to sustain. They gave them outs a couple times today, and this Dodger lineup is too good to continue to do that. I mean, Max Muncy, I think it's now 8 straight plate appearances he's reached safely. He does not swing at pitches out of the strike zone. It's him and Juan Soto, the best or the lowest chase rate in baseball, the best eyes in baseball. He's homered twice in this series. His homer on Wednesday was kind of whatever, tack on, but he's been great. Of course, Shohei Ohtani at any point in time, although that splits with him not hitting at all with the bases empty and just being a monster with runners on. Well, you know what? When there's runners on, pitchers and catchers have to adjust the way that they attack a hitter. And Ohtani seems to just see the ball when a guy's coming out of the stretch versus the windup.
He's very animated.
He's gotten a lot more animated since he made his playoff debut. During the regular season, he wasn't this animated.
A lot of faces.
Well, he hit the home run against the Padres Game 1, the 3-run shot, and he kind of windmilled the bat. Look, you gotta just try to not let him beat you, but there are a lot of other guys that can beat you in the lineup. I mean, Freddie Freeman's playing on one leg.
Yeah.
Literally, and he's continuing to just spray the ball around all over the field, doing Freddie Freeman things. And that damn Tommy Edman.
What about Will Smith? Would you say he's a slap hitter?
Yeah, he's a really good hitter, too. I mean, he's an all-star catcher.
I was referencing the scoreboard.
No, I know. But
also, I do want to say something. And, this is the Glass Half Full podcast.
Glass Half Full podcast.
For the first half of that game, the score, even though the Mets were down for it, even when it was 2-0, it was just, what was killing me was like the Mets weren't, it was just even. Like, I turned to Gabe during the game, and I was like, literally, we're matching them exactly on what spots in the lineup are coming up in every inning. Like, Ohtani starts off an inning, Lindor starts off an inning. The only problem was they somehow scored 2 runs with only 1 ball getting out of the infield, and we just weren't able to put anything across. And I mean, that's baseball, Susan, but it's just frustrating, especially when you see these fly balls get out. I mean, Mark Vientos, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso all hit these balls that you're just like watching go up, and the crowd is getting so excited, and they just die at the warning track. And then Kike Hernandez goes up, and everything changes for him.
Kike squared his ball up enough to get that thing out. Yeah, I mean, the ball wasn't really flying, especially to the part of the park where Mark hit his ball. But you take your lumps, you come back, and the Glass Half Full podcast says a couple of those balls get out on Thursday night. We have ourselves a little pyro party here at Citi Field. So that's where I'm at right now. That, you know, some of those, they're 50-50 balls, right? Like on a given night, 2 of them get out. On another given night, they don't get out. Maybe the Mets' luck turns on Thursday night when it comes to those balls, but the Mets made Walker Buehler throw a lot of pitches early. Walker Buehler didn't go 5.
No,
he came out after 4.
The Dodgers had somebody warming up in the 4th too. I mean,
it was Kopech.
In the third, I think. Yeah,
it was Kopech. So the Mets made Buehler work. They had runners on in the 2nd inning, and they almost answered back right after they gave up the 2 runs. And the 3rd inning again, they couldn't come up with the big hit, but. What sparked all this was Carlos Mendoza, after the game, announced, because he was asked, and I've heard some people, some fans, read some people on Twitter asking if Luis Torrens goes behind the plate. And it's not a knock on Luis Torrens at all, but even though he's struggling, you want Francisco Alvarez's bat in the lineup, because even with his struggles, and we watched Pete Alonso struggle mightily towards the end of the season. Yeah. And we know what happened in Milwaukee in the 9th inning of Game 3, and then he homers in Game 2 in Philly, and he homers in Game 3 here at Citi Field. Francisco Alvarez can wreck a game with 1 swing. And we were obviously all hoping that was going to be the case in the 2nd inning against Walker Buehler, who that was a tough at-bat. It was a tough battle, and he had a tough battle with Lindor. He ripped off some curveballs. He was mostly fastball slider, but to Lindor, he was throwing that more 12-6 hook. And, you tip your cap. He did a good job. This is a guy that's a really good pitcher. He's also going to be a free agent after this season. So this was a big start for Walker Buehler. So, credit to him for navigating those tough situations. And tomorrow, how ironic is it? I think it was December 21st. You and I and a bunch of others went to the Prudential Center to take in a little Oilers-Devils game. And late that night, the Yamamoto sweepstakes came to an end.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was that night. I mean, the Yamamoto sweepstakes for a week.
We saw a certain vlogger freaking out.
And then he went home. Well, he was freaking out that the Devils were. Because they allowed like 5 unanswered goals.
It was not. He was doing the vlog was separate.
Yeah, he got home and he gave a real proclamation of whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was like the baseball universe for a whole week was where's Yamamoto going to sign between the Mets, the Yankees, and the Dodgers. And I had just gotten dropped off on the side of the BQE. When the tweet went out that it was the Dodgers.
Did I open the window and scream it at you?
No, I saw Jack Curry's tweet that because Curry was the one who broke it originally. So shout out Jack Curry for having that scoop.
I'm not saying I broke it. I'm not, I have no sources.
Yeah, no, he didn't break it. But no, I was just tossed on the side of the BQE. Remember that?
I remember that. Yeah. I remember that. I remember it happening right away. I just couldn't remember.
Do you remember who scored the goals for the Oilers?
No, I don't remember.
No, it started their winning streak. They won like 16 straight.
I didn't know that I didn't know the Oilers had a winning streak.
What do you mean you didn't know that? They fired Jay Woodcroft earlier in the year. They hired Chris Knobloch, who was Hartford's. Anyway,
Mendez just put his hand in his face.
Anyway, it was that night that Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers. And how ironic is it that on October 17th, who would have ever in their right mind thought that the Mets would be facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto in Game 4 of the NLCS with a chance to tie this series? That is insane. And while we're all despondent and feeling down on our luck, we are fortunate to be here. And we've said this before, I'll say it again. For the Mets and the fans to be here and be loud and be proud, Game 4 is an opportunity to tie a series, to make the Dodgers feel nervous. It's one game at a time. David Stern said it best right here on Made at the Apple. Just win today, win tonight. That's all you got to focus on. You're not going to win 3 games in one day. You win tonight. That's what the task at hand is. But Yamamoto has some interesting reverse splits that could influence some of the lineup decisions that we do see Carlos Mendoza and company make on Thursday. Yamamoto's OPS against the lefties is 200 points lower than it is against righties. So he has crazy reverse splits is what I'm getting at. I think it's a 70. Why are you looking at me like that?
I'm listening to you. You're making a point. I'm like letting you speak because there's other comments that say I interrupt you too much. So I just want to let you talk.
Righties are hitting 70 points higher on the batting average, and the OPS against is more than 200 points higher from righties than lefties against Yamamoto. So if you're expecting to see a line change, another hockey reference, in the starting lineup, I would not expect to see that. I think that Carlos Mendoza is trusting his guys. We know that this team always responds continuously. They haven't lost consecutive games in quite a while. I'm not going to say the dates because I don't want to jinx anything because it's the last thing we need to do. But
no jinxies.
There's a lot of reasons to believe, once again, this Mets team will bounce back, and they're going to send a guy who knows what he needs to do to the mound.
Q.
And you're comfortable with Jose Quintana.
I am. I mean, look, tomorrow is not an elimination game by any means, but the guy that we've seen go up there in games where the Mets needed to eliminate the Phillies or needed to avoid elimination against the Brewers, the guy we threw out there was Jose Quintana, and he's just been tough as nails through September and all the way through October now, and there's literally nobody I'd rather see go out there right now. I mean, him and Strum and I are both the guys that I look at, and I feel so good when they pitch, and I feel so good in their bump days. And other things to talk about with Yamamoto, like, I know we talked about the weather with other guys. We talked to David Peterson. We talked to Jose Quintana about this. But the fact with Yamamoto is that he has never pitched in cold weather in his entire career.
There are a few outdoor stadiums in Japan, but it's not something he's used to, and it's not something that is going to favor him by any means on Thursday night.
And I know that the regular season doesn't mean anything towards the postseason, but let's remember, back in April, when the Mets started that first win streak, I was there.
You were there.
Francisco Lindor hits a home run off of Yamamoto. The Mets are doing good.
I wasn't against him.
It wasn't?
It was the seventh inning. But the Mets did a couple home runs in that game. That was the night Harrison Bader had 4 hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it wasn't against Yamamoto. It's all right.
It's 12-15.
But the Mets did give him trouble.
They did give him trouble.
And he only went 5. Not, I don't want to say only, downplaying it, but he went 5 innings in Game 5 against the Padres. After a bullpen game, Dodgers went to their bullpen early again in Game 3. On the other side of things, shout out Tyler McGill for eating some valuable innings. And while it doesn't necessarily feel like it right now, the Mets and Carlos Mendoza, he didn't have to burn through a lot of arms in that bullpen. So he is ready if he needs to.
3 guys pitched today, right?
Yeah.
Reed Garrett, Tyler McGill, and obviously Luis Severino.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. So the rest of the bullpen is ready to go. If Edwin Diaz has to go possibly 4 outs, 5 outs, it seems like that could be the case. He hasn't pitched since Monday, so it'll be 3 days in between outings for Edwin Diaz. So, look, we're not going to sit here and tell you it's raining, right? You know the expression.
Yeah.
I'm not great at expressions.
I know we haven't said this is this is the stuff we said a while ago. It's just
what?
That you used to use that expression back months ago.
Yeah. Well, I was setting you up to call me out for my other poor use of expression.
Oh,
right before we. It's too late.
No, I'm going to bring it up because you brought it up
it's
yourself.
too late. I know.
John,
I brought it up because it was too late. So now don't even do it.
John was on the phone.
Don't do it.
John was on the phone.
No, it's not right for you to do it now.
You brought it up.
Let me ask you this. I know what I'm going to do to change the mojo. So I wore a purple shirt on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I wore this shirt today. Kind of had no choice. Kind of picked out my clothes, and I was locked out. Once I made that decision, it was too late. I'm not wearing purple tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. No purple for me. What are you gonna do to change the vibes here?
I'm gonna trim my beard finally.
When you say trim,
yeah.
How?
I'm not going clean shaven.
Why not?
I will never go. I'm not doing it.
Why?
I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. I like having a beard.
So how low can you go?
I'm gonna go kind of like stubbly.
Stubbly.
Like some length, probably a 4 or 5 on the razor.
Okay.
And then I'm also Evan the artist shoes that I've been wearing. I'm not gonna wear them tomorrow. I'm gonna change it up.
Sorry, Evan, but that's not happening.
What?
There's no way you can wear those shoes.
No. I mean, I wore them to the 2 games they won as well, but I'm just gonna put them aside.
What else can we all? What are you guys gonna do to change it up? This is a collective effort.
I'm gonna tell Gabe to fly back to North Carolina.
What part of North Carolina? Canes. You go to a lot of games? Let's go, Rangers! Anyway, what's everyone doing? Drop it in the comments. We all can together turn this around and win this series.
I wish I had time to get a haircut tomorrow. I would literally do it all.
Why can't you get a little snip? I know there's a barber at every corner in Astoria.
Yeah,
I've
but
seen it myself.
I like my guy.
So hit your guy up.
It's in Midtown. It's like a whole thing.
Wait, you travel all the way to Manhattan to get a haircut?
I do.
You take the subway there?
Usually, but if tomorrow I probably would just drive.
Dude, you've got to have at least a backup in Astoria.
I love Devin.
Well, you go Vols.
Devin Toth, great guy.
How much does he charge? Probably a lot. At least 45.
Funny enough, I keep bringing up Gabe. I just a connection. Gabe's wife used to work at the salon, so I actually
You didn't answer my question. How much does he charge?
I'm not going to put out my number out there, but I don't pay.
If it was,
I just tip him.
Okay. I'm just saying that's a big commitment. Like I had a guy in Jersey City when I lived there.
The Mets season is not over. We're not at the point where we're going to sit here. We're going to talk about haircuts and where we.
But the haircut is part of the changing it up.
I know, but we're not going to go this deep.
The alterations.
Look, I still feel great. I still feel great. We said from the beginning this game was going to go 7 or 6 games. If they would have won tonight, I still would have said this is probably going to go 6 or 7 games. We said that from the beginning. I'm not giving up on that. This is going to be an NLCS slugfest. You're going to see things going both ways. This lineup, they got punched in. This team, you'd almost rather see them just get completely annihilated like they did tonight. Because those are the kind of times where they come out the next day and they just come out swinging and they come out playing their best baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you lose by 1 run or 9 runs, doesn't matter. It's still a loss. You're right. I mean, look, they were a couple inches away from tying the game with Alonso's ball that went to left field.
I'm going to quote Tim Wise.
Okay.
Tim Wise from Baseball Ops, we were texting him in the game, and he said, what sucks about this game, it is a much closer game than the scoreboard is telling you. That was at 4-0.
Wise words.
That was at 4-0.
Did you hear my pun?
I did. Do you remember when we wanted to at one point possibly have him on the show and he could have a little segment called Wise Words?
No.
Oh.
I've never heard of that before in this moment.
I could show it to you on my phone.
We texted about that?
I did. I sent it to you.
Show it to me.
Okay.
Show it to me after we're done.
Say something while I do this.
So it was a 16-game winning streak, and that night, no, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. Yeah, but you know what? The energy in the stadium was awesome. Pre-game ceremonies, it was all incredible. Like, you guys brought it. We obviously understand that, you know, the Kike Hernandez home run was really a kick to the gut. But even still, the Mets put a couple guys on. The Mets bats were once again very patient. They drew a lot of walks, worked a lot of long at bats, so that continues to be a constant theme this postseason. Lots of reason to think that the Mets can go out and get a Game 4 W. And then Friday would be quite a day here at Citi Field with a 3-hour earlier start time. It's just like a slap in the face, right? Not a bad slap in the face, but like a crazy wake-up call. It's just everything is shifted up.
Yeah.
Like, we'll probably be doing this podcast tomorrow around this time again, knowing that everything needs to be moved up by 3 hours on Friday. So, thank you, TV schedulers.
Yeah, I can't even think about things in that.
No, I know. Just win today.
Just win today. And like, look, I do think this team still has the edge in a 7-game series, especially the way pitching lines up, because if we do get this to 6-7 games, you get to get another start from Sean Manaea. Luis Severino did not look bad today. Luis Severino pitched a good game, just had some unfortunate luck, and you get him coming out as well too. I'm interested to see what happens with Game 5. We don't know what the who the starters are going to be for the Mets yet. I believe it's Jack Flaherty for the Dodgers at this point.
It'll be Flaherty. The question is, are the Mets in a situation in Game 4 where Carlos Mendoza thinks that he needs to go to David Peterson to try to lock down a win? If he doesn't, then the calculus is totally different. Then you can start David Peterson possibly. So I think that if it's me, I'm leaving it open-ended. And I'm seeing if there's an opportunity where a David Peterson appearance is called for in Game 4. And if that's the case, like, you can't think about Game 5.
No,
you need to win Game 4.
You have to win today's game.
And I would imagine that's how the Mets are handling things. Obviously, they're wisely. Why would they show their hand? They're not going to. But I would think that's what makes sense. Like, if there's, you look ahead and you've got an inning where Ohtani's probably up. Not that it even matters, honestly. Like, the Dodger lefties, they'll hit a righty, they'll hit a lefty. Freddie Freeman's probably the best left-on-left hitter in all of baseball. Ohtani is, he is what he is. He's incredible.
How annoying is it that we still have to just like...
No one's more annoying than Tommy Edman.
Tommy Edman, yeah, but like Freddie Freeman, just like still having to deal with him.
He's a great player. He's gonna get 3,000 hits.
The scoops he had at first base today, just like.
Look, I respect the hell out of Freddie for being told that the injury he suffered the last week of the regular season was like a 4 to 6 week injury, and what he's doing right now is out of control.
You want to talk about the flu game? How about just a guy going through the postseason without a foot?
Yeah, no, it's impressive to watch. But look, when that Game 5 happened, Padres-Dodgers, a lot of people were celebrating the Dodgers' victory, and I get why the Padres scared people. Losing Musgrove, I thought, was a really big blow to them. Really shortened that rotation a lot. But this Dodger team, it wasn't, and I said this, it wasn't like when the Braves got knocked out in 2000 by the Cardinals, and it's like, okay, we don't have to go through them anymore. Or in 2014, when the Canadians beat the Bruins, and then the Rangers didn't have to face Boston because you knew that they weren't. Sorry, Mendez. But no, seriously, like sometimes in postseason play, you need help on the other side of the bracket to pave the road for you. Yeah. Some teams are just waltzing their way to the World Series on the other side of the bracket. But the Mets aren't facing that road. And you know what? When they get there, it'll be all that more gratifying that they went through a really, really tough road to get there. And they'll be better off for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there wasn't a good outcome, really. You were going to be facing a very good team, no matter who it was. And the Dodgers are proving exactly why they, won whatever 96 games. And I think they'll have home field over the Yankees if they do advance.
Yeah.
I think they had the best record in baseball. I believe they finished with the most wins in baseball. So there's a good reason for that. And they dealt with a ton of injuries this year.
A lot.
Betts went down. Yamamoto went down.
Obviously,
Glasnow is not pitching right now. Brutsar Gratterall. Like, there are a ton of injuries that this team has had to deal with. So
Mookie Betts played shortstop for a while.
It's a battle. They went out and they got Tommy Edman so they can move Mookie out to the outfield. But it is truly a battle. But we wouldn't have it any other way, right?
No, I mean, this season's been fun. And it still is fun. Like, we still have more games. We still haven't guaranteed 3 games at Citi Field. Well, 2 left, but 1 tonight.
Yeah.
We still haven't guaranteed 2 more games at Citi Field. And you got to eat up every one of those innings. Like, you got to enjoy everything for what it is right now, because this series is going back to LA. I'm guaranteeing that right now.
Guaranteeing.
I'm guaranteeing this series is going back to LA.
I'm with you on that. I really feel that way too. So bring the same energy tomorrow night, Mets fans. You know that the boys are going to be showing up to the park, ready to hit.
We heard the best My Girl we've heard yet today.
We could do better.
Yeah, because this was the furthest it's went. It got all the way up to
sing it.
I'm not going to sing it because I don't want to get demonetized or stripped down.
It never happens.
Because
I sing things all the time.
Not just stop.
I can't even talk about it now?
No. I'll
Jeez. Who are you going to tell?
Google,
it's YouTube. Yeah. Oh, they do own it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yo, are you tired?
I'm less tired than I thought I would be.
I didn't sleep well last night, so I'm pretty.
Oh, I slept like a baby.
That's
I slept
sick.
like nine hours.
I woke up. I went to bed at 11, but then I woke up at like 1, and then I was up till 5.
That's never good. And then you fell back asleep, and then
For
it's even
3
tougher
hours.
to fall. I've been having trouble waking up in the morning. I've just been really groggy.
You okay?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
You need to talk?
No, I just think that the last 3-4 weeks have been like just crazy. And I think I think that like I'm still recovering from like last week, honestly.
Do you know what's crazy about this playoff run and everything? Like in 2015, the Mets they clinch in September, and then they play a few weeks, and then they play the Dodgers, they play the Cubs, and they go to the World Series. I have been exhausted since the Phillies came here.
Sunday night.
I've been exhausted since
the
last
ball off the
homestand.
bag.
Yeah, like it has felt like it has felt like sprinting a marathon ever since then, and it's just crazy that it feels so long.
It's going to be a real crash when it's over, whenever that is. Like even if it's crazy. Like when you win the World Series, I feel like, not that I've experienced it in my life, but I feel like there's got to be this like, okay, what's next? And it's like there's nothing next. It's done.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you mean there's nothing next? Spring training's next? That must be a crazy feeling. By the way, I looked. This is totally random. We were talking about teams that sweep in the LCS.
Yeah.
And that's not good. The Nationals swept in 2019. They swept the Cardinals.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm. That was That's probably the best World Series of all time, by the way.
Yeah.
Them and the
Because
Astros.
it was special. Everybody in the country.
The road team won every game.
Everybody in the country was rooting for the Nationals. Because
Actually, I don't know. 2017 Dodgers Astros was also incredible. That game 5, the 11-10 game.
Yeah.
Probably the best World Series game of all time.
Well, no, 20 Guardians Cubs. The rain delay,
No, I know it happened. I remember. Something happened after that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
We've had a lot of good.
No, I think that obviously the stakes of Game 7 between one team that didn't win for 108 years and one team that I think the Guardians or Cleveland last one in 1948, something like that. So like someone breaking a curse, and then it was back and forth. Although the Cubs kind of let it be back and forth because Chapman was used and abused and whatever, but. Just the sheer drama and swings of Game 5, Astros Dodgers. Look into it.
Okay.
Look into it. Yeah.
But we got more. Look.
Just wait for the Mets walk-off victory in the series.
Oh God.
Just wait for that to happen.
I want to see a helmet throw.
I think a walk-off victory on Thursday would be pretty sick, don't you? Is everyone ready for that? Is everyone equipped for that emotionally and mentally?
That's what I was going to say. Like a walk-off is sick, but also like
that means that it was tied in the 9th inning.
Yeah. Like, can I ask you a question?
Or the 10th inning. What if it goes 18 innings?
How much different? How much different is your stress and anxiety in a game where the Mets are leading 2-0 versus down 2-0?
I get what you're asking.
Like when the Mets are
nursing a lead versus having to come back.
When the Mets are down 2-0, I'm like, oh, let's get this. We got this. This is good. But like my whole life, like Mets are up 2-0. I'm just like, I'm literally just sitting, just like my stomach hurts.
Well, there's more pressure when you're pacing the field because it's like I'm in the lead and everyone's looking at me.
Something you want to have.
Correct. Yeah, it's probably that. That's probably the answer.
Yeah.
That's probably the answer. Like when you go up in a playoff game, it's like, all right, let's just flip a 0 up here. You just got to post zeros. So. I have a really good feeling about Thursday.
I have a really good feeling about Thursday too.
I don't always say things like that.
You don't. I would say you only said that once, and it was after Sunday's episode.
Yeah. Imagine a walk-off win. Oof.
Very nice. Well, look, we'll be back here after Game 4 with another recap, talking about what went down. You can follow me on Twitter at Vito F. Khaleesi, John at JMB9191. And remember, leave in the comments. Let us know, what are you doing to change the vibes? What are you doing to reverse any jinxes? What are you doing to kind of change your mantra, change the energy you're putting out?
You got to go full shave.
I'm not going full shave. I'm not.
How much you care about the Mets?
I care about the Mets more than many things in my life, but I'm not going to full shave.
I don't know if he cares that much.
Hey, what were you doing? Were you freewheeling before?
Freewheeling?
Yeah, were you freewheeling?
That's not what I said.
No, it's not what you said.
But you mixed up the context.
John was on the phone, and John said to somebody,
"Oh, were you signing off?"
That he was freeballing.
Well, how much time? We're at 30 minutes yet?
John said to somebody on the phone that
20,
he was
27, 28.
That's fine. 30's our window. John said on the phone to somebody that he was freeballing. And then he talked for another good minute or two.
It was 10 seconds. And then I realized
it felt like a minute.
Spitballing.
But you went back.
What do you mean I went back?
You could have just kept going. Like you could have said freeballing and then moved on. You didn't have to say, "Oh wait, I shouldn't have said that."
It's someone that doesn't know me that well. So
I didn't know that.
I needed to clarify.
Was it the Light Masters?
No, it was someone else. I needed to clarify what I meant. So it would have been bad. Spitballing. Like we do here on the show, I'm just spitballing here. So
I don't even know if we're allowed to talk about that.
What do you mean?
Like the other thing. Is that family friendly?
This isn't it's only a glass half full podcast. Never said anything about family friendly.
No.
I haven't cursed in a while.
You haven't. I actually was editing something for us before, and there was a big curse in there, and I laughed.
By me?
Yes, by you. Come on, I don't curse on the show.
How long ago?
June.
Oh, I was big potty mouth in June.
Yeah.
We were so young and naive.
It's funny, dude? Like, it's funny how much you curse on the show because
I haven't cursed in a couple months.
But still, it's funny how much you curse on the show because who curses more in real life?
Definitely me.
You think so?
I curse nonstop.
I would have thought it was me.
No, I curse not. Every other word out of my mouth is
Like
what if me saying is what I need to do to turn it around.
You can follow this podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast meet at the Apple, at Vito F. Khaleesi, at JMB9191. Let us know what you're doing to change the vibes. We'll see you back here after game 4. Let's go, Mets.
LFGM.